I just realized that I never told you guys about the stuff that happened in the desert. Oh my gosh, it was so many years ago. Um, and I was going through my notes because I'm putting all this, compiling everything in a book, because there's a lot. And I came across this. I'm like, oh, I'm going to share this one. All right, so I started a business, hauling things, and it was a small business, and I had a big job. So I knew somebody that they had some trailers, a good friend of mine. So I went over there. I called him up, and he goes, I got a couple, so why don't you come on over and pick one out, and you can borrow it. I'm like, we were friends like that. So I was like, okay. So I go over there, and he says, hey, it started to get dark, and he goes, if you wait a little bit, you want to see something creepy? And I said, well, yeah. So we did. Well, I hung out and everything. And then when it got dark, he looks at me and goes, let's go outside. So we go outside, and he pulls this thing out of this case. And it's this night vision thing. Now, his house was in the desert. Now, all of this took place in the desert. Everything was in the desert. Like, there was nothing. His house was located out right on the edge of town. And if you went in his backyard, which was fenced in, his whole house was fenced in with electric fence. And I thought, that's really weird. I found out why. So, because he had a business and a farm and all this stuff. But if you look at the back of his property, it went on for a long, long time. But that wasn't the fenced in part. But there was nothing but desert. You could not see lights, nothing. So he goes, come here. So we go to the back of his property, and he pulls out this thing, and he goes, now look out that way, right there. So I'm looking out there, and I go, well, what am I looking at? And he goes, just wait, you'll see, because it had just gotten dark. And I was like, what am I looking at? And he goes, we call them, he goes, my mom calls them ground dwellers. And these people are coming out of the ground. Like, they're coming out of the ground. And I was, oh my God. And he goes, why do you think the place is fenced in with electric? Because, trust me, I never went back to his place again at night. That freaked me out. Now, it's like, even to this day, I'll go to the desert, I'll go someplace, and I'm like, I don't like camping, because you don't know what's under the ground now. It's just like, yeah, that freaked me out. But this is a prelude. This is also, things that happen in the desert. Many years ago, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have pictures, there was nothing. Poof, I'm wearing different clothes. I'm sorry. So anyway, back to this. Did I mention that there was a military base? A long time military. In fact, the whole town was all like numbers and letters. And there was legitimate tunnels and stuff. A friend of mine, he always got cool breezes in his closet when he was a kid, and he was always scared of his closet. And after he grew up, he was staying there. He went back to go stay at his mom's, and he calls me up. He goes, okay, so this is weird. He said that he went to the closet, and because he heard some like ding ding ding, some weird stuff. So he went to the closet, and he's like, that the wall is hollow. So he moves the wall, and he says, oh no. So he calls me. He calls me. He says, come over here, I want to go investigate. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go over there. Now, mind you, I'm really young. This was about 35 years ago. Wait, no, 35. This had to be more than that, because I'm 61. So it had to be way more than that. I think I was in my 20s. So anyway, so I go over there, and he opens the thing, and we got these back then the flashlights were like this, and we go in there, and it's a tunnel. It's a freaking tunnel. It's not like a dirt tunnel like this is. It's got lights. The lights weren't all on, but it's a tunnel, and you could see, and we're flashing everything. And I turned to him and I said, you know, from all the things that we've heard that goes on here, this looks like a good place to disappear. So I don't think we should go down there. So he's like, you know what, maybe you're right, because it was really freaky. So we closed it up and everything. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened out there, man. Okay, so here's one. There was my friend and his girlfriend, and we get in the car, and we're gonna go. His dad told him that there was some really neat things way out in the desert, like really cool stuff that people just left there. So we're like, we're gonna go on an adventure. So we get into his Yugo, this the little, like, I don't know, 3-cylinder car that was always on its last leg. So we get into his Yugo, and we're driving and driving and driving. We're way out there. There's no lights. There's nothing. There's nobody around. Like, there's no stores. Like, how could you even live there? There's nothing. And we start seeing stuff. We start seeing like trash. We see water bottles. We see cans. We see like trailers, half trailers, just like left there. And then we saw this. It was like a ticket booth for the fair that was there, and that was kind of cool. And we just kept going, and we're just finding all these really neat things, like a wagon, and then we come up on this. It's like a mobile home, but it was up high off the ground, and the wood panels were going all the way down to the ground. It was pretty creepy, because like the windows, some of them still had shredded curtains hanging, and the desert breeze was blowing them, you know, and it was all by itself. 60 foot, looked like 60-foot trailer or mobile home, and all these windows and this door, and then underneath was the wood paneling with broken pieces out of it. And so we're driving, and as we're going the length of this thing, her and I see things in the window. Like, I don't know how to even describe it. They were like people, but extremely skinny. And they didn't, like, no distinct features, but just really pale, like too pale to be in the desert. Way too pale to be in the desert. And they're moving funny. And I don't even know if they were wearing clothes, because there wasn't anything distinct. It was just these human beings. I don't know. And they're going, as our car is passing, they're going from window swiftly to window, and then the holes underneath, the big, you know, gaping holes of wood underneath the house, there were a couple of them under there going, you know, like chasing our car, but staying inside the thing. And we noticed there's a whole bunch of cars, and he goes, oh, look at this. And all these cars have trunks open, and there's stuff scattered, and there's personal belongings scattered all over the place. Water bottles, so many open water bottles all over the place. And there's this little fire pit right in the middle of everything, like right in the very center of all of this junk. There's this fire pit, and I'm looking at these people, and she's looking at the people. I'm looking at her like, you see what I'm seeing? And she's like, oh my God, you know. And time for two.